day I'm alive, I become more impressed. I guess that's the wrong word, but it's the only way I can use language to express it. But I become more impressed with God. He's incredibly impressive. You know, if someone in the natural realm impresses you, you know, it's like, whoa, wow. But when God impresses you, it's like beyond wow. You know, there's nothing to describe it when God impresses you. I mean, you know, in my days gone by, I used to be a soccer player. And so nowadays I've watched how the game of soccer has evolved. You know, in the day that I played soccer, you never, if you were a goalkeeper, you never passed the ball anywhere in your 18-yard box area. I mean, it was just not a thinkable thing to do. It was danger. You were taught you never pass the ball in your 18-yard box. It's just ridiculous, you know. So inevitably, the way we played was you take a kick out of the box to the halfway line. Then the guys in the midfield or whatever, they get the ball, or then they control it, and you start to play somewhere up the field, right? Nowadays, if you watch the game of soccer, it's like on purpose they've drawn the goalkeeper into the game, and the goalkeeper waits for the attacker to almost get 1 yard from him, and he passes it to the guy that's standing there in the 18-yard box. Wow. It's like, what happened to the game of soccer? But if you see the confidence that these goalkeepers are playing with, and if you see the way that people are passing the ball around in their in-box area, in my days that was just, don't even think about it. If you even thought about playing the ball in the in-box area, your coach was shouting at you from the sideline, and you were almost certainly going to get benched at the halfway mark or something, because it was just unacceptable. You're putting the team at risk. Now, if you don't play the ball from the 18-yard area, you're going to get benched. You know, when I watch these guys play today, and I watch the confidence with which they play with guys that are literally behind them, the best skilled players in the world are behind them, trying to take the ball away from them, and they're playing their back to the players, and they're finding spaces, and they're finding passes that are just unbelievable. It's impressive. If you've been any kind of a soccer player, you will know this is impressive. They impress me. They impress me. Fullbacks, you know, guys that are in the centre back in the area, you know, they fullbacks, centre backs, these guys, their biggest task was to tackle you so hard if you were an attacker that you were out of the game. Don't even think you're going to turn on me, because when you think you're turning, your legs are gone and you may not get up from that tackle. You know? Nowadays, I mean, those, and it was like that was your biggest skill if you were a centre back, was mark the guy out of the game. So he's so scared of even trying to turn or trying to bring the ball to you that he just passes it away. Nowadays, it's like, who's the biggest skilled player? The guy that scores the goals or the guy who defends the goals? Because they're both so skilled. You know? It's impressive. I mean, I know other things might impress you, but I'm just sharing something with you. But it's impressive. What I'll tell you, it doesn't even come close to how impressive God is. And that's the only way I can use a word to explain God, how impressive God is. And when I get to read you some stuff this morning, I think you'll agree with me how impressive God is. I mean, there's a reason He's God. You know, and we're Christians, and we belong to God, and we love God, and we know God, and so we kind of, in some ways, we take God for granted, you know, and the word God for granted. But actually, God is massively impressive. And, you know, if people in the world They like to think of themselves so highly of themselves. They think they themselves are so impressive that they can run their own lives. And of course God has given them the choice to run their own lives. But they must obviously think that they are more impressive than God when they think that they can run their lives and do a better job than God. Huh? I mean, surely that must be subconsciously what they're thinking. I can do a better job of running my life than God can. That means you think, or most people think, that they're more impressive than God. That means they don't know God. Because if you know God, He's impressive. That's why He's full of glory, full of might, full of wonder, full of amazing things. God is amazing. The most amazing thing about God is that He made us. Come on. I mean, you might think you're impressive, but you also know a little bit about your own self that you got some weakness. Hey? Don't you think you got some weakness? Yeah. I mean, you do think you have some weakness, and you're aware of your fragile humanity, aren't you? But He chose to make us, and He chose to live in us and send Jesus to die so that He could live in us, so that we could represent Him. Not as in uphold His credibility, but when people see us, they see Him. Come on, that's even more impressive, that He would choose to use us, choose to live in us. Wow.